Good morning, guys. This is Don here from hispattern.com. This is not really a hispattern.com video, but this is going to be the last video I do about the bike tour. What I brought for the bike tour and what lasted, some new stuff I purchased along the way to help make things easier, and kind of, you know, and learning in the process. You can see the tarp that I had in the first video. It was underneath. I didn't think I had a mat at that point. Or maybe I had a mat and I was using underneath the mat. As the summer progressed in the summer, I really started to use it up top. And I still do now for the rain. And I've got some extra tarps and I got kind of crazy with it this time. But when you're, a note on setting up tarps. When you set them up, one of the most important things is being able to walk around your campsite. So that took a little bit of time, and usually you have to prop some stuff up. The only one that's kind of annoying is this one here, because it comes out pretty far. But yeah, so let me take this camera off, this little guy here, and then I'll show you what came next. I believe I showed you guys the APG stove I had. I still have it, but when I was in Penticton, British Columbia, someone stole the pump, this part right off the top, including the pump handle, out of the bottle. So I still have the bottle of the APG stove and this part. When I went to the outdoor store that had these bottles, I thought that it was different here, so I ended up purchasing a new bottle as well, and it turns out I didn't need to get a new bottle, so now I have two. But this one's much higher quality, so I just ended up using it. Plus just the writing on this one doesn't rub off as soon as gas gets on it. My friend Crystal gave me this Bubba Thermos bottle in Salmon Arm when I was going through there in April or so, and that's been such a huge benefit. Man, it was awesome. So I'm really happy about that. I just bought a new helmet. I don't have much to say about it. It's a Zeifal, and it's a one-size-fits-all, which don't usually work very well for me because my head's so, like, I don't know, it's just a big, I guess. So okay, so, but this one works anyway. Okay, I brought this with me since the beginning. I needed to do dishes still. I had some potatoes in there last night. But this one's great. I ended up getting a titanium spork on Amazon. I like this one because it's got the serrated edge, so you can still cut stuff with it. And I use that all the time. So this here, right here, which is MSR, this MSR set is like probably about $60, and it's priceless. Like, that is the best way to go because it buttons up into a small package and you can pack it away. But I really like to eat beans and rice, and since I've been kind of relaxing and been at campgrounds or out in the wilderness more, instead of riding a lot, I went ahead and got this. Actually, my mom had it because I thought maybe I'd need it. So when she came and visit, I had her bring it. I also picked up this one for free. It's got the lids here somewhere, which has kind of been beneficial, but you know what, I haven't used it very much. So. And I also picked up a metal plate. In the old backpack, it had like a back thing in there, and it was nice to bring it. But you know what I found out? Just because you have a plate with you all the time, doesn't mean Like say when you go hiking, like doesn't mean you always have water to clean it in or sanitary ways to clean it. So it's almost pointless at some sort of point. Okay, so this is one that has changed quite a bit. Maybe you have seen on eBay those 3-part military sleep systems they have. Mine kind of emulates that. I'm gonna get a new one of these. I'm gonna get a fleece one here pretty soon, but this is just a sleeping bag liner. And in theirs they have a very thin sleeping bag that you could use, probably down to about 20 degrees. I don't know, you American folks, it's probably down to 60, something like that. And then I've just purchased this. It's a Rio Rand down sleeping bag. Now, Rio Rand is one of those Chinese companies that makes some half decent quality products. I've had a Rio Rand tent, and it was of decent quality. I didn't end up using it, but only thing I can say about this Rio Rand down sleeping bag is that it is a little short. I'm 6 feet tall, and it barely comes up to my shoulders. I wish it just had a couple more inches so I could pull it up and stay warm. So what ends up happening is my arms end up coming out during the night, and I wake up cold. So there's not much that I can do about that with this one. So, but what I've done is I put this now inside of, you can see if down gets wet, it's, as you guys probably know already, you lose all your loft and you're gonna get cold. So I purchased this US military. Now this would be the 3rd part of the sleep system, and it's Gore-Tex bivy. It's waterproof, but it's also really breathable. Gore-Tex is awesome for that. And this goes on the outside, which protects the sleeping bag and also keeps it dry if there's wet around. I'm leaving early today, so I wanted to just only sleep with this and not have to take down my tent today. So that's why you don't see my tent, and I'm just sleeping in this. And then I just use a bug net. I don't really like spiders and stuff crawling all over me. So, and when you're out like this, it does happen. You get bugs all over you. So it's a good thing to have a bug net, at least over your face or whatever you like to do. And then I've added a second mat, because one mat, sleeping on it almost every single day for 5 months, 6 months, it's just about worn out. So I've just purchased another one, which is at the military surplus store. It's like $11. For dry bags, this Super Gear 10 from Amazon is a great bag. It's rubberized, so it doesn't have like that vinyl, which when it gets cold out in Canada, vinyl does not work very good. It starts to crack and break. But this has held up really well, and I put my Bibles in there, and that keeps them dry. I also invented something. I'll just put you down for a second. Along the way, because I needed something I could get into quickly that would stay out of my way while biking. So this is from the thrift store. This is a very nice Canon camera thing. And then I ended up putting my Leatherman thing here, which I'll carry my Leatherman differently. I'll show that in a second. But I got a flashlight and an extra battery and some matches in there. It's similar to an Eaton tool, but it's got metric and standard for bolts, which is nice. Usually this little low pro thing from the dollar store carries my headlamp, and then I put my extra battery, I think they're called X-Dragon solar battery pack. That will go in there, and then my phone, the Doogee S60. It's like a really rugged phone. I've dropped it a million times, and even while riding my bike, and it has survived all of it. So, awesome phone. I saw people hammering in nails with the screen of it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Back before I bought it. So yeah, it's really great phone. Another thing that has been kind of imperative is when you get a backpack, if you're going to be riding with a backpack on your back, you want to make sure that it's got a bit of an arch to it. This is not a super strong one, it's just plastic, you know, but that'll help your back air out. And then if you do stretch it all the way out, it's arced, because when you're on a bike and you're bent over, your back is going to be arced. And if you have a flat backpack, it's going to make you terribly miserable. This one actually rides quite comfortable. This is a Yakita, and they were going for so cheap. I almost got this for 30 bucks, and then there's something happened to my order. By the time I came back a day later, it was already 48, and then right after that it went up to like 109. But even at $109 for a military backpack, this is the same quality as 511, and I think it's sometimes even a little bit better thought out than some 511s, because I've had 2 511 bags, and yeah, it's great quality. So you can get those on Amazon too. Another thing, this guy here, I don't know if it's called Solar Light or whatever the company is that they rebranded this from in the United States, but these waterproof solar flashlights are one of the best things I have. I can charge my phone with this. This is one of the bigger models, and it's great. It's yeah. So that is one of the best products I've had with me. Life Straw has come in handy so many times. I have another one now. You can buy some of those Chinese ones. You don't want to get the carbon filter ones. Those are great if you're trying to filter out pesticides. But if you need to filter out like viruses, bacteria, all that kind of stuff, then you need to make sure you're getting one of the ones that have the pores. Oh, I don't know what they call it. But it filters it down to so many microns, and I'm not an expert on what that is, although I have read plenty about it when I was purchasing them. But the new ones, they actually like screw onto a regular water bottle, or like you have a pop bottle, 2-liter pop bottle, and then you can just squeeze the water. Life Straw doesn't do that. You've got to actually use it as a straw every time you use it. Okay. In here, in this bag, is pretty much like all my make sure you're going to be alright at all times, because right now I don't do so much riding, I do a bit more hiking and traveling around. So this is my everyday carry, an EDC one. It was an old first aid thing. I have a knife sharpener, which I use for my knife and my hatchet, which I'll show you here in just a second. I don't have a hatchet, actually I have a Tomahawk, because they're quite light. And then I've got some fat wood, which is kind of a bushcraft thing. If you guys don't know about fat wood and you're going to be out in the wilderness at all, find out about it. All I can say is, if you're in the wilderness and you need something that'll start in the rain or anything, once you have a flame going, like even setting a lighter to it, you find a dead tree and you chop off one of the bottom branches and they'll be full of sap. This is actually fat wood from the root of a tree, which is even better. Okay, so then I've got some Char Cloth, which is charred cotton, which will catch a spark, and you can start a fire pretty easily with that. You need to practice it though. You can't just like expect to do it. And then when I started the bike tour, I had one of these, and I tried to use it in the winter last winter, and I didn't know how to use it. When I say winter, like it might have been springtime, but I was in the mountains, and so there was snow everywhere and stuff. I didn't know how to use this thing, and so I couldn't get a fire started with it. I tried for like an hour. So I had to actually go on YouTube and watch it and then actually practice it, and now I wouldn't go back and do it any other way. But so these are awesome things to have, and of course there's a lighter in there. So starting fires, of course, is going to be your best way to stay warm. I know when you're like hopping off a bike and you've got wet clothes on, changing into dry clothes first thing before you do anything is going to be super imperative. But then also once you get stuff set up, because you usually get, you've been working really hard, so you're going to have some good body heat going on still, but fires of course are going to be the next best thing. So this is just cords and chargers and all of that. I had this like US military hat, which has been really nice during the summer heat here in the Okanagan. It gets really hot here, and this one came with the backpack for free, and it's pretty nice actually. So I'm gonna keep watching Yakita and see the stuff that they come out with, because it's really quite nice. Some Schmags are awesome. I don't care if it's cold, whatever. I have a wool one, but when you wrap these around you, even in the winter time, they're so useful. They're just useful for so many things that it's impossible for me to come up with a reason why I wouldn't carry them. Rain poncho. Even if you have a rain jacket on, this can be really nice if you don't want to get it wet. Like maybe you want to sleep in this, and you need to get something done that's in the rain. It's always a good thing to have with you. And in here, it's kind of my survived for 72 hours or longer, even in the snow if I had to. First aid pack, another poncho, just a little one. Then I've got the water filter I was talking about that screws on. It's just like a life straw pretty much, but it screws onto a water bottle. Someone just gave this to me actually, and this is kind of an extra cool thing. It's got some fire starting stuff in there, but it also has fish hooks, which is kind of the main reason, but it's also got an emergency Mylar bag in there. I have created my own. Give me a second here. Okay, I took a bike tire, I cut a long distance and then I split it down the middle, and then I used rubber cement to glue it back together, just for this here. Now, this can be used to start fires. Also, it just keeps it compact, because I used to carry this not in this pack, but this is kind of a new development, was to create this, because as I transitioned from bike touring to lots of hiking around, there's lots of wilderness here around Vernon, so got that. Now the pieces of wood, they help make this stronger, but also I can use them because they're nice and dry. Finding dry wood when it's raining, and it's been raining for a long time, or there's snow everywhere, once you have some experience with it, you'll find out that's a really big pain in the butt. And so getting a fire started can be pretty tough. If you have a piece of fat wood, that's great, but you still need to be able to like touch a flame to it for a second. So you need to be able to get something that'll just light right up, and this stuff will. Okay. Let's see here. So this is just one I've pieced together on my own, from either stuff that I was using, like when I started the bike tour, and then it kind of wasn't so important anymore. Like this here was a Gerber dime. A great little tool, but it's kind of cheap in some ways. Like the knife, as soon as I started using it, it became like it opens up too far. So that just kind of was annoying, you know. Anyway, I like this because it has tweezers with it, so I keep it around. I have some thread, a thimble, some needles in various sizes, including this big one. Some more fat wood. This is fat wood from a root of a tree, from my friend that chops down trees. And you can see that it's just like full of sap. It looks almost like beef jerky because there's so much sap in there. So those things will light right up and they burn, you know, they just keep burning. So if you needed to dry out some other tinder while you're starting a fire, those are great things to have in emergency. Duct tape, Mylar, and then another fire starter. One of these magnesium ones with a ferrocerium rod at the top there. And then of course a lighter, because I don't care how survival you are, lighters are a good invention. Alright, I don't want to make too much of a mess here because I'm going to be leaving today, but let's go look at some other things. this is another one of the best things that I have with me, or has been so useful to me. And here is a solar panel. All powers, solar charger. This one has 3 rows of 5, so I guess 15 solar panels. And it can charge battery pack. This battery pack on Amazon, I don't know if it's on Amazon.com, but it's on Amazon.ca. And it is by far, for the amount of juice you get, the best deal there is on there. And that will charge it. It's a ACON laptop power bank. I think it advertises 50,000 milliamp hours, or 50,000 whatever. Let's see. Yeah, 50,000. If you do it by weight, of course it'll have a little bit less than that, because I think at 50,000 you'd have just over a kilogram of material to make the battery, and I believe that weighs about 900 and some grams. So you also got to take into account maybe the casing for it. So maybe it has a 800. I don't know. But batteries and the way they're advertised are never what they say. It's crazy. At least from my experience, particularly with the battery packs. I don't know about actual batteries, but so anyway, this here, that will run my laptop, and I have a laptop that actually uses quite a bit of juice, and it will run it for 5 hours without discharging the battery. So I have, and this in the middle of summer will charge it in about 5 hours. I've got all my clothes in this one. I've got a wool blanket and more stuff, jackets, everything to stay dry is in there. Not dry, but warm. Random odds and ends. Shoes. That's so much stuff. And I'll show you a couple things in this bag, and that's it. Some of this is food stuff, just little odds and ends there. So in this one too, a woman was nice. She bought these for me for like, I don't know, $10 or something, a whole bunch of them to give to people, because I like to talk to people, particularly people that are suffering, you know, like, there's a lot of like lonely people in this world, some of them traveling around, some of them in their own cities, you know, and so I'm talking to her about that. She purchased those for me so I can give them to people. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you. This is another good one. Now these are kind of experimental because I haven't got used to everything in my environment yet. But when you're starting a fire, particularly with char cloth, you need something that will, and let me show you the char cloth. See this one here, it's got a hole in the top. And that way you can put it on the fire. I had a nice high quality cotton shirt, like a work shirt, and so I actually cut off really thick parts of that, where there were seams and such, or where the buttons go, and I charred it in here. Now, one little spark, which you can, if you have high quality like carbon steel that's hardened, like say I have a chisel around here, and if I smack it with a hard enough rock, I can get a spark to come off that. If the spark lands on the char cloth, then the char cloth will continue to, the spark will continue to go. And the reason for that is because this has been heated in the fire without oxygen. So there's still a little bit that can be burned with oxygen, and only that is left. But what it needs is it needs a spark on there. Once you get that spark, you can start blowing on it, but you need stuff around it. Make a bird's nest. You can see all this stuff on the bushcraft videos. So what I've got here, old chopstick, some pine needles, some long ones, some other pieces of wood which I would actually shave off. And these are really dry because fat wood does not burst into flames quite easily with char cloth. You need some really dry wood instead. So I've got some really dry wood there, and then also some of the smaller stuff which I would put around there, and that helps keep the heat in, but also the stuff can catch on fire when it's really dry as well. So guys, I know that's a lot of riffraff that most bike cyclists aren't really carrying, but it is. All those things have been really, really useful to me. Oops. And I wouldn't go without them. I also have a Leatherman signal which I purchased, and this has been imperative to my survival on this trip in a lot of ways. It's just got the bare basics, but it also has a fire starter. It's got the ferrocerum rod with a starter there, and then a little saw. What I liked about it is it has a can opener, and it's easy to access. So yeah, that's it. Oh, let me show you one more thing. On the bike itself, of course, these bags are great to have, so you can carry your tubes and everything. At least here in Canada, the stuff stays safe. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about it besides they're great to have, because then if you're camping somewhere and you're gonna go into town and you don't want to bring all your bags because you bring your bags everywhere where you go every single day, then usually you try to leave some stuff behind, but sometimes you get a flat tire when you're in town. Then what are you gonna do? You know, hitchhike back out to your camp or whatever. So it's good to have those with you, just because then you can have your bare basics with you at all times, and that'll help keep you safe. Forgot, if you're trying to travel light, I had a hatchet, but it was way too much, and then I ordered this, which is a cold steel Tomahawk. And once you sharpen these things, I find that smaller blade, when you're out just trying to make a campfire, these actually cut better with smaller stuff. If you have a bigger blade, it tend to like hit small materials, like say this tree over there, and they'll bounce. They'll bounce because but when it has a smaller blade area like this, when it's coming down, sometimes it'll stick more, particularly when it's really sharp. And so there's actually an extra benefit there, but there's no reason to carry any more weight than this. And if I needed to cut down more weight, I could just take the top only. And Tomahawks are quite easy to make a handle for, because it just uses wood that expands out, so you can cut a baby tree, usually a hardwood tree that's going straight up, and then use part of it that's the right size for it, and that's all you need. So anyway, oh, and then okay, promise, last one. Firm grip. These gloves, I purchased them at Home Depot for construction workers. They've been with me the entire tour. I haven't used them every single day. I save them. Like in the summertime, I didn't really use them much. But now that it's winter again, my hands need to stay dry, but I also need some dexterity. These are awesome for that. Granted, your handlebars will wear through certain areas, but they're only like 19 bucks. And another huge benefit. So anyway, I did a little bit of studying this morning for a video on Michael. Find out what that's all about in the next video. Okay.